Hello there, Taurus, and welcome to your May reading. It's really great to see everyone again, and I hope that this month is getting off to a great start for you. If you happen to know your sun, rising, and moon sign, just a quick reminder that you can use all of my monthly readings for each of those. If you don't know, then just stick with your birthday or your sun sign. Now, I like to begin each reading with a little bit of channeled information. The way that I arrive at that is I meditate on your sign before I get started. Usually I start to see some pictures or words will come to me, and basically I use a method called automatic writing, which is just to write things down without thinking too much about them so that I can get the information out. And your message this month was not to let opportunities pass you by. Spread your wings and create your own momentum this month. That create word is the most important piece of that, and what I was getting with the message was this idea of not trying to catch up to something, not waiting around for something, you being the sort of catalyst, which we have a catalyst card here and I'll talk about that in a second, but you're going to be that force that brings things into action. And when you do that, you're no longer beholden to other people's timing, their agenda, or anything. Instead, you're an agent of change. So I hope that that resonates with you, and I hope that you can find a way to create that momentum. The image that I got was a bird or a butterfly, and it was moving really, really fast. So I believe that things, once you make that decision that you want to go after something, I think that your timing is going to come to you quicker than you think. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about the format of the reading. You know that I just started with channeled information. I'm going to be pulling a Celtic cross here in a second. Then I like to expand that to include health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right, at this point, I like to go ahead and look at the cards and see what they have to say. Before I do that, I just want to welcome anybody that's brand new, and of course, thank everybody that's been supporting me for the past few years. Really, without you, I wouldn't be here, so thank you so much. And again, welcome to anybody who's looking or listening to this for the first time. In addition to what you see in front of you, I like to pull an additional card, which is the catalyst. The catalyst connects everything together. It also yields a little bit of insight into the overarching theme for the month. So you received the Magician card in reverse, and this really ties in nicely to the channeled information, which was one, a card of manifestation to create your own momentum. And the other thing with this is that it is not a card of waiting. This is a card of doing. So I want this to be a very active month. Active not only in, you following through or executing on your plans, but also in your own thought process. Sometimes when I'm talking to clients in a one-on-one reading, they'll say, well, I wish I was doing this, or I want this to be happening. And if you change the narrative in your mind to, I am creating this. So for instance, say that you're at a path in your job where you're ready to start something new and you're going to school and you hope to quit in a year. What you could do, instead of saying, I'm stuck at this job and I'm not happy, you could say, I'm so excited because I'm finally starting to do something that I like. I've been going to school and I have a plan that within 1 year I'm going to be really much closer to doing what I want. So I feel proactive, I feel like I'm taking back control, and I can't wait to get to the finish line. It's a perspective shift. One is being stuck, one is taking action towards an eventual outcome, understanding that the outcome is important, but not as important as realizing that you are now taking control and manifesting. In effect, you are becoming the magician. So the magician starts with a thought and a feeling, and then it becomes an action. Sometimes people think there's the action and then you feel what you're supposed to feel. So I'm just encouraging you to flip it around and make the shift within before people even see the change. So it could be a change of how you want to live your life, who you want to be, how you want to express yourself. But first comes the internal recognition, and that's the true magic in the Magician card. It's not so much some sort of spell or luck or timing or money, it's just the belief. The belief is the magic. So if you can get that started this month, then the momentum is going to be right there with it. And that's where I'm like, you're going to create your momentum. So just believe in yourself, and then you'll start to do things because you believe in yourself. All right, so let's look at the cards. One thing I want you to focus on this month is your vitality, your emotional and your physical sense of strength and momentum, which we were just talking about here. One way to do that is to just literally focus on physical activity, any type of physical activity, walking, lifting weights, doing yoga, running, biking, it doesn't matter. But I want you to put your body into motion, because that motion is then also going to pull your energy and your thoughts as well into a state of action. So if you are in a state of inaction, create the action. If you're tired, perhaps you've been overexerting yourself in other areas, I want you to focus your attention. I mentioned in a previous sign that the Magician can indicate sometimes a need for you to focus. This one particularly because it's reversed. So say no to some things. Actually pull some things off your plate if you're doing too much. Delegate if possible. If not, just sort of say, I'm going to do this next week, or I can't do this right now. Try to create something that's more manageable for yourself. And if you're sick or you're tired, you need to take some time for yourself. So either work on increasing your physical strength if you have been in a place of inactivity, or if you're being overactive, take some time off to rest. You need that strength in body so that your mind and spirit can follow. We have the Empress card right over top of that, which for me usually indicates being seated too much or having problems or challenges with lower back and hips, because whenever I see an emperor and empress, they're on a throne, which is typically about making sure that where you know, spinal compression or where you're seated, that area needs some sort of extension or extra love this month. So that's why making sure that you're walking enough, stretching enough, and of course if you have any pre-existing conditions, that you get the proper care and attention. That's going to be essential, because first thing that came through was vitality, and that's without health, without this sense of well-being, everything else is not as important, and it gets difficult for other things to happen without that. As I look at your deep past, we have the Four of Swords card here, and this really speaks to a period of either inactivity or comfort. So some of you may be in a life situation, or maybe the past year has been something where either you haven't felt that sense of initiative or momentum, or it's been quiet, and what I'm seeing is a disruption happening this month. We go from a state of inactivity to a state of expected but nonetheless tumultuous change. And some of this can just be a seasonal shift as we kind of go from the cold winter into the into the spring months, and eventually here into summer soon. So this is coming out of hibernation. For those of you in the southern hemisphere, it could be about going into hibernation, but either way, what we see here is a shift and a change. This to me though is speaking more to your ability to create in the space of work, school, and resources. I see it as a positive shift. So some of you may have had a period of either unemployment or not as much productivity or a feeling of restlessness. Now I see a change coming through, and with the Eight of Pentacles, this is a chance to either educate yourself, invest in yourself, change your money or your investments, and see growth on this. There's also a common thread here of being either self-employed or a lot more in control of your money, of your future. And I want you to start to, even if you were part of a larger company or a larger organization, these cards are empowerment cards. So it could be about learning about the opportunities of growth within that company, within that group. It could also be about taking something on yourself, being a sole proprietor, owning your own company, or asking if you could be considered for advancement. So either way, I see your money shifting towards a better place and moving a little bit from that state of feeling stagnant, quiet, or for some of you maybe not seeing any activity. Now, one thing that there's sort of a caution of as you look towards the near future is transparency and releasing fear. Eight of Swords for me is a card where you're kind of afraid. What's coming next? Am I going to be ready? It's fear-centered, and you want to get out of that sense of fear back into a sense of I can make anything happen that I need to happen, and not, again, being beholden or somehow attached to another person as far as like, is this okay, or depending too much on them. So this month and this year, your opportunity is, how can I get more independence? How can I get more control? Now, as we look at your soul card, the answer is right there. We have the King of Swords, which is really a card of speaking your mind, being active, taking initiative. And it really is another card that is the antithesis of the Four of Swords. This is waiting, this is doing, and this really does sit nicely with the channeled information, which was to create opportunities, to create momentum, to speak up. And what's really, really important in respect to that as well is to make sure that you're networking, that you're getting out there, that people know your name, know what you're doing, know what your contributions are, and more importantly, that when and if it's time for you to look for other opportunities in your life, whether it's dating, work, or just adventure, that you're going to be able to do this by your network. Of course, the Three of Cups is also just reminding you to have fun, to celebrate, and if you are at a place in your life where you're looking for love, this card really shows that dating and new social activities are going to present themselves this month. It's encouraging you to just take advantage of that. It's usually not a card of settling down, however. This is about as far from the Four of Wands or the Two of Cups as you can get. This is really about meeting a lot of different types of people so that, again, you can just see what you're looking for, what's out there. But it's usually a dating card and plural, more than one person. Now from this, there is the potential to meet someone in particular that you might really feel connected with. And I'm getting two Wands cards, so it does feel like a strong fire energy. Now with the Queen of Wands in reverse, the only thing you want to be focusing on, if that is someone new coming into your life, is can you see eye to eye? Because usually when I get a Wands card in reverse opposing another upright Wands card, it shows headstrong connection, so you may really like the person, but this is going to be a formidable partner, someone who really is going to challenge you. Now, as an aspect of your personality, let's just assume that you're already in a relationship or that you're happily single. What these cards really relate to are making sure, again, that you are not cutting yourself off, that you are celebrating little successes, little joys in your life and others, really being a part of the larger community, that you're expressing your thoughts and ideas not only through your words, but also through your actions. And finally, that you stay as open-minded as possible to other people's needs, thoughts, and feedback. The Queen of Wands is a beautiful card for managers, for business owners, and for anybody that's taking either school or business very seriously, but it can also be someone that has blinders on. So I want you to keep your mind and your eyes and ears as open as possible. Really take information in, drink it in from all of your senses this month, and just sit with it for a little bit before you have to make a decision on certain things. So that active listening and open-mindedness might bring to you a new opportunity or a new person that you hadn't expected meeting, but that's only going to happen if you continue to stay as open-minded as possible. Now, let me see if there's anything additional. Oh, for those of you that might be sensing that there's some trouble in your relationship, this could be a friendship or a longer-term relationship. When I have the Tower card and the Three of Cups, this usually has to do with a third party. Either, again, in business or friendship, there could be someone that comes in and either sort of drives a wedge between you and the other person or manipulates the situation. If that happens, you want to really be as transparent as possible and say that you're not going to be putting up with that, or simply to walk away from that. But with the Eight of Swords card reversed, this is usually about acknowledgement and transparency. So if there's fear or frustration or concern or something that comes up, it's better to deal with it and deal with it in a way that is kind but also clear. And I think that that will help you out. Again, with the Three of Cups, you want to avoid gossip. And if there is a third party involved, really decide, is it worth me getting into this weird triangle, whatever kind of triangle that might be, okay? Now let's take a look at the larger forecast. We'll begin with your health card. For me, the health card always includes mind, body, and spirit. So let's see what the message is for you. So we have the Spirit Whisper, Divine Guidance and Higher Learning. The card was reversed. So when it comes to health, it's about listening to your body. The interesting thing is sometimes we know what's wrong with us long before a doctor does, but we just don't tune into that. And if there's anything going on in your body this month that you just know that it's time to check check up on something. Maybe you haven't been to the dentist for a while or the doctor, and you have that little nagging voice at the back of your mind. I really want you to pay attention to that this month. The other thing with this, as I'm looking at the cards, is this is a time to change up your habits. So if there's anything that you're doing, we have the Three of Cups. For some of you, this can be a card of excess. So when you have excess, the answer to that usually is moderation or changing so that you're not overdoing it. It could be drinking too much, eating too much, exercising too little or too much. And what you want to do this month is try to bring things into more of an equilibrium and not overdo it in any stretch of that word. So I really want you to focus on moderation and taking it easy, and most importantly, listening to yourself, because we have divine guidance and higher knowing in there. And so just know that you probably already have an inkling of what you need to focus on. Don't deny that. Of course, because it says the Spirit Whisperer, this is a great month for you to embrace your spiritual side and go deeper into any sort of esoteric or mystical training if that's something that you want as well. All right, let's look now at your wealth card. The wealth card includes all types of opportunities within your life, but namely those that surround money, resources, and of course, any sort of career opportunities that might be on the horizon as well. So we have the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. So 7th chakra is about divine knowing. It's also about really getting into your creative side. Now, sometimes when I say creative, people think that that just means artistic. When I see creative here, this is really about you going outside of what you've kind of painted in as normal or acceptable. So this could be trying a different way of making money. This could be looking at a budget situation and finding a new way to either reduce your interest costs or redistribute your savings so that you're maximizing it more. It's calculated changes, not even necessarily risks. I think you've already weighed out and you can see that some of these may pay off, but you just have to take that chance of trying something new. So be open, talk to people, try some new things. When and where it makes sense and the calculated risk is appropriate, go ahead and try new things with your money and with the way that you're working and maybe the way that you're managing your company. And for those of you that are thinking of big picture things, like maybe I want to do something different than I thought. If you're younger and you always wanted to do a certain career path, this is about embracing the idea of, you know, I've been drawn to this, I want to do that. And even if you've been in your career for 20, 30 years, there may be something new that's calling to you. That was something that happened to me after about 15 years of being on one path. So it's never too late or too early to kind of embrace a tower moment. And a lot of times the tower can be a wonderfully reconstructive element. It's not always destruction. It's a clearing out, and it allows you to recreate something that might be of more interest to you. Your crowning card was 8 of Pentacles, so I see abundance and wealth within your reach. So just don't be afraid to try something. As we look at your love card this month, we just looked at health and wealth. Your love card is going to really focus on matters of the heart, whether they are in relationships, within your family, or just the relationship of how you feel about yourself. All of these are going to affect love in your life and how to bring more love in your life, basically. So the message this month is in the flow, which is to pay attention to how easy things are or aren't, and if it feels right, to go with that. That's why I really want to encourage you to get out and to basically, whether it's just about professional networking or having fun and celebrating or personal networking, the more you're out there, the more opportunities you'll bring into your life. More friendships, more business opportunities, and for those of you that are single and looking to partner, more partnership opportunities. So it says everything is smooth sailing. I want you to start off this month with the idea that I can do this. I'm going to be having a much better time this month in relationships than I did last month. That's your internal narrative. Even if that means I'm going to let some things just kind of slide and I'm going to try to just do a brand new start this month. The Tower reverse can be about completely letting go of something and focusing instead on something else. So if you had a breakup or a shakeup, then it's more about, all right, then I'm really going to see what else is out there. If you've decided to make something work, it's about celebrating the fact that you're working on it with someone that you love. Either way, it's a new start. Don't hold on to the baggage of the past. If you do that, there's a lot of great love that's ready to come your way. And I see that again with the Eight of Pentacles here. This is a card of independence as well, getting towards the Nine of Pentacles. So I feel like one thing that you can do to kind of bring in higher love in your life, not just through your partners, but just overall, is how can you feel more self-sufficient? Because that's an attractive force. People see that and they realize this is someone I want to be around. So anyway, that's an additional piece of advice that came through. Finally, as we look at your Destiny card, I really view this as a GPS. This is your chance to check in with yourself and think, do I feel good about the direction in which I'm headed? And if I do, then I can stay on that path. And if not, then this is your chance to course correct. So we have the Ace of Orbs card here. And orbs in this deck are actually swords, even though we see this water type symbol here. So with the Ace of Swords, this is a chance to start something new. And what I see here is that some of you have started off in that ideation phase here with the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Swords card is about taking that and bringing it to a tangible action. And so the next logical step for you is to create an action plan for whatever it is you're trying to do in your life. So don't be afraid to do that. Now is the time, and I would say by the 3rd or 4th week of the month, this is really when you want to start taking some, again, some decided action towards making it happen, creating that momentum, not waiting for someone to say, hey, it's okay, or this idea is great, feeling that it's okay and taking it to someone else and saying, let's do this. And there's a big shift between that, because one is really trying to engage. The other one is asking for permission and also asking for what people think. So I want to put you in a place of empowerment instead. Now at this point, I like to take a quick review of everything we said before we wrap up. Just a reminder that your channeled information was not to let opportunities pass you by. I said for you to really focus on spreading your wings, which is exploring new things, trying new things, and most importantly, that word that I focused on earlier, create. Create your own momentum this month. Now, when you do that, it sets you up as that change agent, and that was the big message when I was tuning into your sign. As we look at the cards, your catalyst this month was to focus, not to take on anything else. In fact, it might be a good time to delegate. With the Magician card in reverse, don't doubt your ability to make something happen. You have it. If you trust yourself and if you believe in yourself, others will do so as well. As we look at the Celtic cross here, focus on your vitality. If you're working out too much or not working out enough, something needs to come into more balance so that you feel stronger. That's going to translate from your body to your mind. For those of you that are feeling a little bit inactive or have felt like you're in a slump, just the act of any physical activity can move your energy in a place where things start to shift for you. The Tower card. And what I like about this tower is it leads to very good things. It's touching the Empress, and right on top of it we have the Eight of Pentacles. So this is about self-empowerment, fertility when it comes to bringing things into life, to breathing life into things. And then the Eight of Pentacles showing that whatever you decide to invest, that there's a return on that investment. The Eight of Swords in reverse, actually very positive because it's showing more transparency as well. If anything pops up that feels like it needs your attention, don't be afraid to call it out this month. The Tower, the Eight of Swords, and the Three of Cups really speaking to an opportunity to make sure that there's no room for gossip this month, that you're not going to put up with people that might be trying to manipulate you. You'll either call it out or walk away from it. King of Swords, you're really encouraged this month to speak, write, and act in a way that really expresses all that you have to offer. No more wallflower moments. This is a chance to stand out, to be seen, and to participate as much as possible. In doing so, people will recognize what you have to offer. Also, for those of you that might have felt that you blended in the past, I don't think that that's going to happen this month. There's going to be a chance for more friendships, business opportunities, and even dating if you're into that. And as we're looking at your outcome card, really some encouragement this month to stay as open-minded as possible. It doesn't really matter where you're at in your life, in your money, in your career. If you can stay open, new things will come to you, and you might miss something otherwise. New partnerships, whether they're dating or love, there could be a little bit of friction there, and that's going to be an area that you'll want to focus your attention. As we look at health, Pay attention to what you feel and think on an intuitive level. Also, when it comes to your intuition, a great month to delve deeper into your mystic side. As we look at wealth, really focusing on thinking way outside of the box. It's a phrase that's overused, so what I really want you to think about is, if there's been a way that you've always done something, look for efficiencies. Could you be more efficient? Could you be more effective? One thing that you might want to do is seek external advice, ask other people, because when you're in the midst of it, it's sometimes hard to take the blinders off or to get an eagle-eye view of what's going on. So it might be a good month to engage with a third party and get their advice. I think that relationships should provide a little bit more joy this month, and it should feel easy. If it isn't easy, that's also part of the flow. You don't necessarily want to go against the stream or the flow. So if someone is moving away from you, allow for that movement to happen, and perhaps someone else better suited will come in. Whether, again, that's a friend or a loved one or a professional relationship, things come and go in life. And I really believe that you can pay attention to that magnetic force. If it's happening and it's easier and it feels good and it's an attractive sort of energy, that's what you should be embracing this month. Finally, you should be focusing on an action plan for the last few weeks of the month. Orbs or swords in this deck. They're ideas that you're going to take into action. So I really want you to focus on what next. What's your plan B, your plan C? How is this all going to be part of your big vision? Whatever that may be, whether it's love or relationships or business. I want you to think about, what are your goals? Once you know that, the universe can start to provide opportunities, and more importantly, once you start to take action on that, since your channel message was create your own momentum, then there's no stopping it. So I want you to really feel that you're going to create flow, create opportunity, and to embrace the magician, which is to manifest. Remember, I said that it starts with a belief. That's the most powerful part of the magician. So that brings the monthly reading to a close. I hope that it provided the insight and the information that you needed to successfully transverse all of the challenges that come through this month. But I know that life has a way of throwing curveballs sometimes. So if you ever need to chat with me, the first link will show you how to book an appointment if that's something that you're interested in. The second link is a way that you can give back to the channel. If you find that these videos provide some sort of support, or that you really just look forward to them each month, feel free to donate as little as $1. It really goes a long way in production costs, from materials to simply paying for the internet. It really does make a difference. And this is the way that I do this out of the goodness of my heart, but this is also how I make a living. So if you like what you see here, feel free to donate. There's a lot of ways to do so. Also, if you'd like to stay in touch, a great way to do so besides subscribing to this channel is to check out that third link below the video. On that, you will see ways to connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other social networks that I'm on, as well as subscribing to my newsletter if you'd like. Now, my favorite part is really this last piece, which is I want to say thank you. Not just gratitude for showing up here and supporting me. I definitely feel that, but a bigger sort of gratitude for the work that you're doing to make the world better. We've talked in previous months about the vision that I have of creating this this chain of light, that each of us are kind of embodying this idea of being a lighthouse, a beacon of light for others. This month I'm encouraging everyone to somehow share their gifts, whether it's simply doing some sort of a service for others, intuitively helping someone without really calling it out as intuition, but just knowing and sensing that there's a need for help and doing that. And for some of you, taking the first steps towards being some sort of a light worker. Follow your path, whatever your path is. And embrace that, and use all of the tools that you're learning here and elsewhere to really create a sense of compassion, empowerment, and really making sure that what we're doing becomes the norm. I think that we are starting to see a tide turning here. There's a lot that's going on that can sometimes be distracting, but there's a lot of great stuff too. So focus on the great stuff and be part of that. And thank you so much for allowing me to be part of the change that's happening within all of us. Wishing you much light, love, and happiness now and always. See you soon.